Hello everyone, I'm Madiha Tabassum. Today I'm going to present our work on investigating end users' views of security and privacy mechanisms in the smart home. Smart home security and privacy has been a popular area of research in recent years. Research has found that users are concerned about the extensive data collection, sharing, and inference in the smart home, and they need more awareness and control over their privacy. The smart home devices offer a range of mechanisms to configure how data is collected and managed and how users are made aware of that data. However, users are often unaware of and confused about these controls and the implications of their use on privacy and security management. A detailed understanding of how users perceive and utilize the various controls available in common smart home devices is still needed in order to understand the privacy and security implications of users' behaviors related to these controls. For this study, we chose a smart lock and doorbell, specifically because they collect video data and provide physical access to the home, both of which have been found to be perceived as sensitive by users in prior research. Thus, our research questions are to examine end users' perceptions and use of different controls in these two devices and how these considerations and available features shape their behaviors and implicate privacy in the smart home. To explore end users' perspectives of available controls in smart doorbells and locks, we conducted two sets of semi-structured interviews, one with novice users interacting with a smart lock and a smart doorbell for the first time in a face-to-face interview, as well as phone interviews with current owners of these devices. Both interviews centered on the awareness mechanism and controls available in smart doorbell and smart lock. Awareness mechanism inform users of the data collection and the sharing of the device. For instance, notification inform users of the videos being recorded. Controls can be applied to manage what data is collected and shared and how to be notified of that data collection. In these two devices, these are the controls related to notification, such as turning on and off receiving notifications, downloading, sharing, and deleting specific data points, and providing access to the device to other people. As expected, our participants were primarily driven by functional considerations when configuring the smart lock and the smart doorbell. Some of their decisions served to increase data collection and data and device access, while other decisions would have opposite effect and thus be more privacy preserving. We present our results based on these implications for different sets of controls in these two devices. Notifications are a key awareness mechanism for smart home devices, providing users with continuous knowledge as to what the device is capturing. For instance, the motion notification from the smart doorbell makes user aware of the device's ability to detect activity around the door and that a video is recorded as a part of that. Most of our participants use controls to try to reduce unwanted notification. However, end users' awareness of data collection and use may be reduced by their desire to disable notifications without turning off recording. Participants configuring the field of motion detection would potentially serve to limit data collection of a doorbell, where desires to use location-based features such as scheduling notification based on location or presence in the home and recognition-based features such as notification for only unknown person or voice will increase the collection and use of users' data. Our novice participant expressed little interest in proactively removing their data when storage is not a concern, and owners rarely erase their data on their own. Both sets of participants desire to keep a long-term history, even longer than some devices offer. However, many participants mentioned that much of the recorded data was irrelevant or trivial and not actually needed. One of the implications of participants' lack of interest in removing data is that organization would have an immense amount of information to use for additional inferences. On the other hand, participants express desire to locally store data, auto-delete data after a certain period of time, and delete data upon leaving the platform, which would decrease the access to user data. The novice participants showed more concern and desire to take action to limit the recording of themselves and bystanders than the owner participants reported doing. The owners were comfortable with the current recording setup of their doorbell, despite several having stories of undesired recording. For instance, one of our participants mentioned, "When my mom was visiting me, they have the camera set up in San Francisco, and her in-laws were visiting. So my mom would sit there and she could listen in on my grandmother gossiping about her to the other relatives, and my grandmother had no idea that she was being recorded." Thus, the implication is that permitting the video doorbell to record even when it is not necessarily desired increase manufacturers and potentially other stakeholders' access to user data. Participants mentioned limiting the data collection by such a device by limiting the field of view of recording, disabling the video or audio recording when it is not necessary, and doing behavioral restraint around the doorbell. Both owners and novices expressed their willingness to share suspicious videos and random funny videos with their family, friends, police, neighbors, and social media. Sharing a video on public platform, however, result in potentially broad access to the video. Such access can be limited by sharing only a snapshot rather than the entire video, or sharing through a personal channel when possible. Our participants wanted to share their devices with others, both within and beyond the home. Participants' practice of sharing account credentials to share their devices increase access to features and the device. However, participants were comfortable with this because they only showed this behavior when sharing access with very trusted people. In contrast, sharing one-time temporary and capability-based access reduces non-trusted users' interaction with the device. Overall, we found that smart home device interfaces often lack transparency and feedback to inform users of privacy implications of their decisions and support privacy management. However, providing such feedback while keeping the interface usable is complicated. We have noticed one such complexity with the default setting. One of the main goals with these devices is the ease of installation. That is being done by making configuration as brief as possible, and most participants accepted the default settings. Though that improves the usability of the device, accepting default settings without properly reviewing them may further decrease end users' awareness of data practices. Our study also indicates the importance of providing explanations of features inside the app, alongside the controls. The current practice of smart home device vendors is to provide explanations of the features and controls in their website, not inside the app. We observe that users are not good with such decoupled interactions. So in these cases, the most straightforward solution would be providing an explanation right in the place where and when it is most expected. However, the challenge is to provide information concisely without overwhelming the users. Our participants desire to have more nuanced control over data collection. This includes having many of the same options that are often already available for limiting notifications, such as being able to limit recording of certain times or certain kind of events, temporarily turning off recordings with automated restart, and only recording when users is not at home. Finally, we found in our study that users need transparency and control to not only restrict shared users' access to specific capabilities, but also to block them for accessing and downloading particular data points that are already stored in these devices. That concludes the overview of our work on end users' perceptions of smart home controls and awareness mechanisms and its implications on end user security and privacy. and I am happy to take your question now. Thank you.